So, the next thing that we're going to get rolling into is some marketing and merchandise support. So, as we mentioned earlier, we're always expanding our ability to hold information, whether it be metadata, whether it be assets, whether it be merchandise in this case. So, let's go ahead and start by looking at merch. This is something that is sometimes utilized by clients, sometimes not, but I think it's a really powerful tool that can help teams be able to capture all of that data. Obviously, sometimes artists will have their own merch, but obviously a lot of times labels will also set up merch for them. So this gives you the ability, whether you're in marketing, whether you're in A&R and you have specific products that your label is selling and creating and setting up for your artists, then you're able to capture that information. You can capture merchandise images, the information surrounding that. So whether it be a title, a label that the merchandise is associated with, what artist that merch is associated with, as well as some information about like metadata languages. If this is going to be something that's captured in let's say a Shopify or something similar, you're able to bring some of this information of color, print, detail, apparel size, manufacturing information that can be captured, codes, whether it be a third party or a owned UPC, release date, as well as some information about legal notices. One thing that we're really excited about is this will be soon added to the API. So this can be pulled to the API here in a bit. We're doing some great API expansions, which we'll talk about a little bit more later. And this will be one of the things that can be pulled, which is really exciting. So if you have a team that you're working with or a company that you're working with that has that API functionality to be able to pull in products and information, Shopify would be one of them, using something like an Integromat or something similar, Postman, something like that, that you can pull that data. Then you have the ability to automatically pull those. One thing I wanted to mention before I moved on merchandise specifically is there's also a marketing tab when it comes to merchandise. So when I go into edit mode, you can always add a full description on any of your merchandise and have that captured here as well. The other thing I wanted to bring your attention to is the project level. So while projects are made for housing releases, something that's often overlooked is that projects are also used to be able to house not only releases, but sessions and merchandise as well. So this gives you that opportunity to say, hey, Irina Guinness has this digital single, and this is the Captain America t-shirt that somehow goes with that album. But it allows you to kind of capture those all together. Similarly with sessions, when you've got your single, your EP, your album, your CD, your vinyl, so on and so forth, all captured for a project, something that you can do is associate those sessions, whether it be working tapes, whether it be stems, or bounces directly from the actual studio as artists are creating these songs, then you can add those sessions to a project to have that beginning of life cycle of a song all the way to market utilization captured in OpenPlay as one, so that your team can always have access to that entire process, which is really cool to me. I really am a nerd about this stuff. So keep in mind that projects you can do, again, not just releases, but sessions and merchandise as well. On the marketing front, something that we wanted to take a look at is the marketing level across the board. So one of the things that a lot of people miss is that not only in projects, but in releases, tracks, artist pages, merchandise, all have the ability to add marketing information. And this is dependent on somewhat on your environment, but no matter what, you'll always have this marketing description. This is a project, so it's going to have a slightly less amount of things that can be added, but what you can add is images, you can add videos, you can add documents and links here on the project level. But let's go ahead and look at a release. I know I've covered marketing in the past, but I want to be specific about assets and what can be captured on the actual text side. So when I go back into edit mode on this release, we've got focus tracks that can always be added. So when you're trying to communicate, let's say you're the marketing team, or maybe you're an operations team, and you want to make sure that, let's say from the operations side, that marketing knows what songs we need to push. So from this 3-track EP digital album, I'm going to say track 1 and track 3 are going to be my focus tracks for this album. Whether it be a one song, well, that if it's a digital single, I think that's pretty clear, hopefully, what the focus track should be. But if it's a 50-song album or a 100-song album, maybe it's the best of 10 years, whatever that album might be, then you're able to assign those focus tracks. You can also add a marketing description here for your team to be able to utilize. And then we go back to assets. So on the release level, you can capture images, video, documents, links, artist photos, press releases, and one sheets. And each of these will have their own section. So, you don't have to put a one sheet in a document. You can actually have that, West with you, one sheet. You can choose a file. I'm going to choose a random file. And here we go. Now we have this full section for one sheets, and that is now downloadable by my entire team if they need to utilize that. So, very useful, very helpful features as you're trying to look at maybe your front line releases, and you're trying to make sure that your team has not only the marketing assets outside of like a box or a Dropbox, but also has the ability to see across the entire your entire frontline releases what marketing information is important to your team. It can be really, really useful. So from here, I also wanted to look at this marketing notes, this internal marketing notes section. So some of you may have noticed this, some of you may have not, but there is a section called internal marketing notes underneath the focus tracks, marketing descriptions, and any assets you add. What you'll actually be able to do is have blurbs, whether it be a quick pitch that your team is going to utilize, any internal marketing notes, a recommended if you like section, which can be useful for pitching, obviously. Any selling points that you want to communicate to your team can be put here, as well as coverage and sales goals, budget spend. All of these things can be captured under every release. You don't have to, but this is one more example of a spot where we as OpenPlay want to give you the ability to bring in as much information and as much metadata, as many assets as you can, and as much clarity about your product into OpenPlay so that your team can all be on the same page across the board at all times. So I think this is a really useful section. Hopefully you guys will find some use out of it as well. And if you do, please let me know. I'd love to come check it out, see how you guys are using it, and hopefully learn something from your team as well. From here, again, I'm just going to make mention of this. We're not going to dive into it, but beyond just the release and the project, on the track level, we also have a marketing tab. When it comes to master projects, you also have a marketing tab. So we'll go back here. We were on this project. We saw marketing here. If there is a master project, it would be here. There's also a marketing tab there. So you can use that across the board as well as on the artist page.